Norma Safeguard 357 Magnum. I'm going to do an ammo test today in a 4-inch and a 2-inch barrel. I've actually never really heard of this ammo before, and I looked for information on it. I couldn't find anything on it, any videos on it or anything like that. So apparently I'm the first person to test something like this. But the whole point of this is it's inexpensive ammunition. I paid about $40 for a 50-round box of this Safeguard ammunition, which is hollow point defensive ammunition, which in 2021 is a pretty affordable price for 50 rounds of so-called defensive ammunition. So it is a 158 grain. It is rated at 1296 feet per second. There's asterisks by that, and what they say to those asterisks is that it's rated out of a 6-inch barrel. But typically with 158 grain ammunition, what I get out of this 4-inch barrel is about 1275 feet per second. And out of a 2-inch barrel, typical 158 grain ammo gets about 1150 feet per second. So that's going to be kind of the benchmark I'm going to use to see if it compares to other ammunition. It looks similar to an XTP, but it's a little bit different. It also does not have what appears to be a roll crimp. And it happens to be European ammunition manufactured in Hungary, so that might be why. So we have to be a little bit careful, make sure that it doesn't jump crimps and stuff like that. So I'll check for that while I'm doing this test. So we're going to go through the chronograph and see what kind of velocity and accuracy we get at the same time. And as always, we're going to go through our Juggernaut box, which contains a 1 3/4 inch pack of bologna. We're covered by 4 layers of denim, followed by 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard. This kind of represents like a pectoral muscle, followed by ribs or sternum, and into water jugs to catch these bullets. And typically how this compares to ballistics gel is most ammunition that I tested, I've seen in other ballistics gel testing, indicates out the back of jug 2 is about 12 inches comparison to gel. Out the back of jug 3 is about 15 inches. Back of jug 4 about 18 inches and so forth. And typically most good defensive ammunition comes out the back of jug 3 and expands well. So we're going to see what we actually get with this Norma Safeguard and see if it's actually good ammunition for the price. So let's get started with the test. All right, first up I have the 4-inch barrel, and keep in mind about 1275 is what we typically see for velocity out of standard ammunition like Federal, Remington, stuff like that. So let's see how close this actually gets to about 1275 feet per second. 1168. 1257. 1257. 1241. I'm going to check these for any type of bullet creep. They look fine. .1231. So other than that first round, I would say overall not too bad. Our accuracy is pretty good. Our consistency of velocity, other than that first round, was pretty good. Let's see how the snub nose barrel compares. All right, next up, the snub nose barrel. I'm actually going to check for bullet creep with this also, because it's more likely to happen with a gun like this because it's a lot lighter. So I'll check after a couple rounds, maybe 3 rounds, and see if we have bullet creep. And let's see if we get close to about 1150 feet per second. 1142. 1131. 1112. I'm not really seeing any indication of bullet creep. So even though those are probably just tapered crimped in, they seem to be holding fine. .1056. 1130. So interesting, both sets of chronographing in each gun had one round that was very inconsistent, but the other 4 were very consistent. So I'm not really sure what I think so far about that, but let's hit the ballistic box and see how these two compare to each other in different barrel lengths. All right, first up I have the 4-inch barrel. We'll see what this bullet does. All right. All right, so the baloney pack is still intact, which is not really typical for 357 Magnum, which is kind of interesting. Typically it gets blown to pieces. But what it does look like from the fiberboard impact, here's where it impacted and here's where it exited. That typically does indicate that the bullet was expanded almost the size of whatever hole I get. So interesting. Our baloney damage isn't bad. It's, you know, but it's on par with something like a 9mm. But this damage to the fiberboard is pretty typical for 357. So let's see what we got in water jugs. Our first jug has a lot of damage. It might be a little bit less than what we typically see with 357, but still not too bad. Piece of jacket laying in the box. Okay. We went through 2. There's more jacket in the box. 3. Came out the bottom of jug 3. It looks like we impacted 4. Okay, we have a big dent in 5. But the bullet core is in 4. And it came out the back. So this is going to be a roughly 19 inches comparison to ballistics gel. So let's see what we got. All right, so what we have here is a little bit of expansion on that core. The jacket shredded and busted up. It's a pretty solid layer of copper. It's a true jacket. So it might not look ideal, but I'm going to say that did relatively well. Let's try the 2-inch barrel. All right, 2-inch barrel. We'll see how this compares. All right. Baloney pack here. Still a little icy out here. All right, here's our baloney pack. The damage to the baloney pack is definitely less than the 4-inch barrel. And here is where we impacted the fiberboard. That's weird. It looks like 2 little bullet holes. That's weird. Let's see what we got in water jugs. All right, our first jug actually has a lot of damage. A lot of fiberboard in here. Jug 2, we're going through jug 2. Our impact is going up into the left with this round. Interesting. Jug 3. Jug 4. Impacted 4 up high. We went out 4 higher. I don't see any bullet, and I don't see any impact on jug 5, so that's going to be about the same 19 inches comparison to gel as what we had with the 4-inch barrel. And looking in the box, there's nothing there, so I have no clue where that bullet went. That's not typical to lose a bullet in this box, so it would have had to have probably hit jug 5 and bounced up somewhere, because our trajectory was continually rising. So that's very interesting to see that. So I don't know really how that performed really. So since these are pretty inexpensive rounds, and why not launch them off at a little bit of a distance just to kind of see how they perform at a little bit of a distance. I have a target at 25 yards. Let's just see how they group at 25 yards. All right, 25 yards with 4-inch barrel. I'll do some double action shooting here and just see how these rounds do for me. All right, I'm gonna go up and take a look. All right, honestly not horribly bad. 2 touching here, 2 touching here, and these are off. So I guess relatively decent for what it is. Let's try the 2-inch barrel, see how that compares. All right, 2-inch barrel, let's see what I can do with this. Alright, I'm gonna go up, take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know where the other ones went. Probably up here somewhere. Very interesting. I'm not able to group very well with this gun at 25 yards, and typically I could do nearly as well as that 4-inch barrel. Keep them all right here in this gun, but this ammo doesn't want to perform so great in the snub nose. All right, to sum up the performance of this ammunition, it did pretty well in the 4-inch barrel. Our velocities, except for the one round, was pretty consistent with some high-end, or typical I should say, 357 Magnum ammo. And our ballistic test, it did relatively well. We got some expansion fragmentation. It didn't really over penetrate, and at 25 yards it seemed to group okay just offhand. But the 2-inch barrel, the velocity was fine, but that bullet just didn't perform very well on our ballistics test, and at 25 yards it shot really high in that particular firearm. And I find this interesting because when we look at the safeguard ammunition on the box, it shows a little Smith & Wesson snub-nose revolver, you know, all over this packaging. It shows this little snub-nose revolver, and I think that's not really accurate for what they should be marketing this as, because, well, it did okay. I would say that the 1296 feet per second rated probably would happen out of a good 6-inch barrel, considering what I got with the 4-inch barrel. So overall, I'm going to say it's a decent 4-inch load. You could still do better, but I mean, for like whatever this is, 80 cents a round or something in today's current time, it's not bad for a 4-inch barrel. But I would say if you're going to use a snub nose, don't use this, because I think you could do a lot better. So that's what you get today, the Norma Safeguard 357 Magnum 158 grain jacketed hollow point. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.